Hello everybody, this is Archbishop Dave, first time recording a video, hopefully not the last. In this we're going to be going over the release of the More Monsters mod for Monster Rancher 2 DX. This is version 0.2.3, so right now it's currently in alpha, but it is stable enough and working enough that I would consider it to be in a state to where I encourage people to use it. Try it out. If you run into any weirdness, please report it to me. But otherwise, let's take a look at it. So what this mod does is, and I'm going to show it up here right now, it adds over 100 new species of monsters to the game. Something to keep in mind, unlike what some work has been done in the past, this does not replace monsters. This adds them to the game as new, unique breeds and species. These monsters are community driven, so we've got I don't want to call it a formal team because it's kind of at will, but effectively a team of people who are working to create these new monsters, myself included, and I work to kind of build a framework to get them into the game. So to actually generate and use these new monsters is very simple. It basically comes in the two forms that you would expect to get these monsters. One is through the shrine, and two is through combining. So hopefully, I'll be able to demonstrate the combining. Sometimes the RNG is a fickle mistress, but the shrine is very straightforward. So let's go ahead and do that. So to generate any of the new monsters in the mod, just go to the shrine, go to the Distone, and if you want to just preview everything, if you aren't sure what you want, just go ahead and type in more monsters in here and search. And as you can see, there are more than 100 search results. So you might have to narrow it down a little bit to find exactly what you want. If we scroll all the way to the end here, you will see that it ends at Undyne. There's still Zoom and Zilla that aren't even on here. So you will kind of need to do that a little bit if you want some of these monsters. You can do that by just, if you're looking for a Zoom, just go here. And there you go. There's all the new Zooms for more monsters. And as simple as it was to find them, let's just go back to this. There's one actually particular I want to showcase. Where is it? Where is N? Oh, whoops. There we go. All right. And all you do is generate the monster. Keep in mind that if you're starting a fresh save file, which you don't have to do for this, you will require unlocking the base species for the monster to generate it from the shrine. So it kind of follows the standard rules in that way. And there we go. Beautiful Naga Dragon. Absolutely wonderful work from the artist who did this one. And for those of you acutely aware of the systems and all of the existing monsters, these stats are set up in a manner that if the base game had this monster, this is what those stats would look like. So it's following the same rules for initial stats, it's following the same rules for battle specials, for training drill bonuses, all of those goodies, and including growths. And I'll post a link in the comments or in the heading below, but there is a link to a Google Drive. It's also in the mod description itself when you install it. But it will have all of the different monsters in the game along with their stat totals. Just keep in mind when you're looking at those charts, and I'll display it up here right now, just an example of that. Keep in mind that the values, especially when it comes to either arena speed or guts rate, well, not guts rate actually, arena speed and the growths, those are 0 index. So if you see a value of 0, that's effectively an E growth. If you see a value of 4, that's your A. That's as good as it gets. Let's go ahead and take this Naga with us. And let me go ahead and save real quick. And freeze this puppy. Alright, so if we go now to combine, the other method. Now, of course, here, there's no guarantee that this will work. Of course, I'll probably just get something that isn't a new monster, but we can see the results in here, and trust me in that it works, even if I don't actually get one of the new monsters. So We've got a couple in here. As you can see, they're brand new names. Nothing wrong with any of this. Works with all the standard monsters as well. Let's go ahead and combine this Arrowhead Tiger with our new Naga. No, I do not want to use the secret seasoning. And as you can see here, yep, we have Devilier, we have Lava Blood. So we've got the new creatures, and we've also got the old ones. Very low odds. It's at like 20%, but let's give it a shot. Oh, there you go. Perfect. I couldn't have asked for a better result for testing purposes. All right. And there we go. So that is the way that you can generate these new monsters. Combining follows all of the existing rules, so you got your technique inheritance and all that good stuff that you would expect with the base game behavior. Something of note that this mod also does, let's go ahead and freeze this guy real quick again. Well, let's go back to the shrine for this one. So a few monsters, there's not a whole lot of them at the moment, but something this mod also does, let's go to model, is adds in the system of, okay, we're going to add the more monsters, model. It adds in the system of alternates. What alternates are, there's not a whole lot of them in the game right now. I think there's 4 in total. But what it is effectively an alternate version of the same monster. So here you can kind of see there's Monocolor Pandora, and then there's 2 more Monocolor Pandoras. If I click on it, just Monocolor P, and Alt 1. And we've got Alt 2. If we scroll a little bit further, we've got Mono Joker, Alt 1, and whoops, I didn't want to go back all the way. In either case, so there's multiple versions of the same monsters. Again, right now there's not a whole lot of these, but as time goes on, expect to see more and more of these. So it might be subtle. These are generally meant to be subtle changes. Or in the case of if we have multiple people working on the same monster, and they're both great, unique ideas, and we don't have to have a canon one. So if you're working to contribute or want to contribute, don't feel bad about working on a monster that already exists. Granted, there are 700 at the time of this posting that do not have a legal combination. So there's plenty of brand new space to work. Again, I'll show the chart right now. So you can see how many aren't in the game still. However, you don't have to worry about, oh no, that this is already taken. I had a brilliant idea for this, and this is the only monster I've ever wanted to work on. Go ahead, work on it. We'll get it in there, and do the best we can to make it work. However, generally speaking, also, if you have a monster that has room for different color variations, but are the same creature, right? And I'll show off the Color Pandora example here in a second. It'll be very apparent what this does. It's a minor change, but it exists. If you're working on, say, a Duck and Sub or something, you can have maybe multiple variants that focus on the red or focus on the yellow or the blue, assuming you're keeping with that, white, red, yellow, blue color palette. So let's go ahead and generate Monocolor Pandora. This is literally the first monster that was ever developed by yours truly. Let's go ahead and generate him right now. Beautiful. Alright, we're not going to take him to the ranch, just so we can quickly get back into the shrine. And model. Alright, and let's do Alt 1. We're not going to do all 3. It'll be very apparent what the alternates are. Ta-da! And you'll notice something a little funny there when that happened. Those of you with an acute eye. So we will take this one to the ranch. And we'll just name him ABC. One of the other things that this mod does, in an attempt to increase the variation of having all of these new monsters, is to make even the old ones feel a little bit fresh. So there are some technical wonkiness that happens every now and again with this feature, but it's one of my personal favorites and really adds some spice. So this model looks a bit large. Maybe you can't put your finger on it, but this doesn't seem quite right for a baby model. And especially when you compare it to the shrine of the previous model that happened seconds before, they weren't quite the same. So what this mod also does is add in monster size variations. And this is just a generated at birth, either through the combination process, in which case it kind of weighs the parents together, or the shrine itself. And the shrine will just give you a random size. This is configurable in the mod settings, so if it's something you don't like, it'll still generate those numbers if appropriate, but otherwise it won't be using them. So you don't have to worry about giant monsters, although giant monsters are really fun and really silly. So I'm going to open up Cheat Engine here real quick. And I am going to make this model, this model, the absolute max size. And we are also going to make it so that he is an adult. So he's got half of his life left. And we're going to go to the ranch, and it'll be very apparent what's going on here. We've got a big beefcake model now. He is huge. There we go. And if we go back to town, it'll be even, so very apparent that this model is gigantic. And model is not one of the biggest creatures in the game, keep in mind. He's not small, but do this with a golem and you will get some big boys, and you can also get some very tiny ones. If I set this to the minimum value and go back to the ranch, you can see, very baby model. So it's very silly. At the extreme values, it's meant for fun, though. It's very silly to see this tiny model flattening something, or even vice versa, where the giant model is just smashing creatures into oblivion. It's all in good fun, though, to just give, hey, every monster's a little bit different. So if you're raising your 10th zoom, on a new save file, hey, you might have gotten a big one. You might have gotten a little baby one. And it is what it is. It doesn't affect any combat stats. It's completely cosmetic, but it's there just to, change up the experience a little bit, even when you're still using the default monsters. So that is effectively what the More Monsters does, or the More Monsters mod does. So we've kind of gone over all of the core features. You can generate any of those monsters as you want. You don't have to do... I don't know if you can hear my child screaming in the background. What are you doing, sweetie? You got toys? Oh my goodness. Okay, let's head back to town real quick. So that's what the More Monsters mod does. I couldn't have done any of this without the support of the Monster Rancher 2 and just Monster Rancher community in general. I've made a lot of these monsters, especially for the initial 1.0 or 0.1 release. However, since then, I've gotten a plethora of support and outpouring of help from all members of the community, large and wide. Now, I've gone from almost 100% of the monsters in the game to I'm barely teetering on 30 anymore, and that number is only going to shrink as we get more and more talented members of the community supporting, submitting monsters, and helping this roster grow. The eventual goal is to attempt to get every single monster in the game, all combination. There's approximately, I think at that point, 1,200 ish. A couple hundred of those are already taken. Based on the base game, we've got approximately 100 new monster species that have already been created. So there's many hundreds more to go. But that is the ultimate dream of just being able to kick up the game and go, here are all of the monsters. Before I get into the end of this video, is just going to be a showcase of every single main game monster in the game. We do have a configuration setting for a couple of joke monsters. So if you want to submit more silly things or references, you're well within your power to do so. For general people using this mod, it's not enabled by default, but if you want to do that and submit them and have it be part of the project, you're welcome to do that as well. But the showcase at the end of the video is going to just be every single monster that's currently in the game. And you'll be able to see them all, preview them. They're going to be sorted by main species. But if you're interested in contributing, there should be some links down below that kind of guide you through the process the process of getting a hold of me, some forms that you need to complete, some tools that you need to download. I'm also going to link a video that kind of explains the process for generating these monsters that has already been created by another YouTuber, Moosebones. And that video is extremely informative, probably way more put together than this one will be. And is kind of your stepping stone for getting into the process and contributing if you want to help out. Otherwise, just download and enjoy. You're not obligated to help out if you don't feel like you have the time, the energy, the artistic skills, whatever the case may be. If you want to submit designs, feel free to join the Monster Rancher 2, or I always call it Monster Rancher 2, the Monster Rancher Discord. And you can get a hold of me there and submit some stuff, and we'll take a look at it. Obviously, time is precious, and we do what we can. And some things may or may not be possible with the current way this process operates. But over time, we're still looking to expand our tools, expand the capabilities of the mod. Something that I can't promise anytime soon, but I feel like is on the cusp of a great discovery is model editing. Maybe not adding in new creatures from scratch, but we are very close to being able to deliberately alter these monsters in a way that we want. So if we want to give a creature a horn, we might be able to do that in the very near future. So with that in mind, hope this has been informative. There will also be a link to actually installing the mod. I'll probably put something at the very beginning of this video just to kind of point you in the right direction. If you're like, I don't care about any of this, I just want to use it. Go ahead. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and please enjoy the showcase. If you have any questions, reach out to me and I'll answer them as best I can. Alright, take care.